Hey everybody, I'm back. This is going to be a fun one because it's based on an actual example of something I created with a friend who had a dream of creating or launching his own Brazilian Jiu-jitsu studio. I'm not sure if it's called studio or gym. Please forgive me if I'm saying the wrong word. Okay, dojo. I don't know. Okay. All right. So so the same concepts, the same concepts each time. So I have a set of concepts, and if you book a call with me, there's a link below called a visioning session. If you book a call with me, um, you'll get, you'll find me, you'll see me employing the full set of all of the various concepts and thinking frameworks I use. Okay, so it's just part of being a designer. You know, being a designer, you have to be sort of multidisciplinary, right? And you have to have some skills in terms of designing and building and envisioning, right? And strategizing, okay? Because a lot of our job is how to make things more bite-sized such that we can actually put them into action. So let me get my timer going. I'm going to time it. I'm going to keep it to 7 minutes so we have some time to talk at the end. Okay, and it started 7 minutes. All right. So let's talk about a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu studio, okay? So same concept applies. What is a studio, right? What are you optimizing for? What are you trying to accomplish? If you're saying, I want to make a studio, that's different than saying, I want to teach people jujitsu. I'm passionate about it. I love it. That's all I want to do is teach people and work with people. But you can work with people in all different formats, right? There's many different ways you can learn things, right? There's online learning, probably not very effective here, but you can do it, right? People do it. Um, you can do one session at a time, right? So how do people learn, right? So learning. So watch this. You could do one session at a time. If you have one session at a time, or one student at a time, sorry. If you have one student at a time, one student per class, one person class, right? You don't need as big of a space, right? Maybe it's a a pad, the rolling pad. I'm making this up. I don't know what it's called. I'm not a jujitsu person. Rolling pad that's in your trunk, and you drive to people's houses and you teach them there. That may work. So watch this. If you go to your target market, like who are these people? Who are these people? So imagine this. Imagine you're starting out. You're a V1. You're a private teacher. You're a private coach, and you drive to people's homes. So here's the rub there. Is it worth it to do that? And my friend is in the Bay Area. So was it worth it to do that? It is worth it to do that if you simply charge a lot of money. If you charge a lot of money, who's your target market? What if your target market is CEOs, right? What if your target market is CEOs, right? And the model, since we're playing with models, we don't need a school. Um, we don't need a school to start. So skip or building. So skip the building, right? And we do um, we do high, like high ticket BJJ coaching, right? And what if the focus? Let's see. What if the focus is simply um, people who want to get in shape, right? Or people, and this happened during COVID. A lot of gyms shut down. So what happened during COVID? Gyms shut down, and a lot of people started teaching out of their garages. A lot of people started moving to, well, I'm going to come to your house and teach you. Some people moved to, we're doing an online gym, and all you guys get up on Zoom the same time that we would do in class, and we work out then, right? Doesn't really work with some formats like CrossFit and stuff, but with yoga, that probably works, right? And I don't know anything about yoga either. I'm just guessing. This is all just guessing. This is all just making things up, playing like we were playing when we were 6 years old, right? That's all we're doing, except it's hard to do. I'm really good at it. So I think you should book a call with me and come and hang out with me for an hour and see what we can create. So if your focus is um, if your focus is um, entrepreneurial entrepreneurs, right? What you could do is do BJJ as executive coaching, right? You wouldn't believe this. There's somebody who does this. There's a person who does this, but with like karate, and he drives around to business owners, people who own companies. He goes into their office and he does a private sessions, and he says, within an hour, whatever was on their mind, whatever business problem is on their mind, they've already worked it out, right? So you could do the same thing, but with Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, right? So already we're thinking of the various elements of the launch. So watch this. You build up clientele doing high-end sessions, right? And there's a high end for everything. There's an elite for everything, right? There's gyms that are $20 an hour, and gyms that are several $100, $20 a month, and some gyms that are several $100 a month, right? So here in LA, we have Equinox, for example, right? We have Equinox, and there's a couple other gyms. There's one on Third Street Promenade in Santa Monica. I forgot what it's called, but I've uh, I've seen many people go into these more elite gyms, more private gyms. Okay, so um, what you can focus on is, for example, let's move this around, is a different model of learning. So maybe you have a different way of learning it. Maybe you have a different focus for it, right? Innovate in how it's learned. So maybe the way that you know how to teach it, people will learn and advance faster, right? So maybe there's something in how it's learned, in how it's taught. Sorry, in how it's taught, right? Think about CrossFit. Think about CrossFit. CrossFit is an innovation in how fitness and how people are trained to get fit faster, right? And it's a very sticky service. Why? Because people love CrossFit because they get results faster. So innovate how it's taught, or some other way to create results faster, or results easier. Maybe you say it doesn't take that long. It only takes half an hour. The way I teach it, it only takes half an hour, right? There's always a way, there's always ways around learning, training, teaching, developing, building things, right? So right there, we already have two different ways, or one, two, results faster, results faster, right? Think about Pilates, right? So Pilates, what's the value proposition of Pilates? We're done. The value proposition of Pilates is that, hey, we'll give you a complete new body in exactly 10 sessions. So if you don't know anything, think about the about Pilates with the reformer machine, that thing that looks like a torture device, right? Um, their claim is that we will transform your body in exactly 10 sessions, not 9 sessions, not 11 sessions, 10 sessions. So there you go, right there, right? So if you put all this together, or just pick one, you could start teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or you could innovate in the audience. So one more thing before we finish, you could innovate in who the audience is. You could say, I'm going to teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu uh, to different types of people, right? So to like kids, to kids, maybe have a different model of teaching the kids. Right? Um, there's a word on the top of my head is people who are like neurodiverse. Yeah, neurodiverse. So neurodiverse, right? You could do this with anything. I promise you, this process that I take you through, book a call with me, and book it, and you get a 60-minute visioning session with me one-on-one. And we will take you through this process and we'll even go further than that. We'll start actually building out the actual details of this for you. Okay. All right. 10 minutes are up. Take care. Bye.